Hi everyone, welcome to another edition of Finance Friday. I know it's been a while since we've had this conversation, but we're back again with a very important thing that we're all trying to understand. I know Budget 2020, which was delivered on the 1st of Feb last week, delivered by our esteemed Finance Minister, Mrs. Nirmala Sitharaman, has left a lot of us confused, perturbed, and wondering what's going to happen with our taxes. What I'm going to try and do today is decode at least the part of the budget which affects our day-to-day lives. There have been certain major announcements in the budget, but mostly lukewarm announcements which don't affect much at all. A lot of us were hoping for more tax breaks. We were hoping for more impetus for us to make investments, but unfortunately, quite the opposite has been delivered. I'm going to start off with the major announcements that were made in this budget. First of all, one thing that's going to be affecting all of us, paying our taxes. So as we know, our current structure says that whatever your income might be, say for instance your income is 10 lakh rupees and you make investments under Section 80C, which could be your life insurance, PPF, employee provident fund, etc. If you claim those deductions, it brings down your taxable income. I would have hoped for our government to ensure that we're saving more, and India being an economy that has been focused on saving and investing over the years. However, in the recent past, there's already been changes where people are borrowing more. So I was hoping there would have been a focus on creating a larger savings culture. That hasn't happened because they have given us an other option, a new tax regime which will come into play on the 1st of April 2020. Let's hear what Mrs. Sitharaman had to say in this regard. We wanted to be sure that money is in the hands of the people rather than investing in schemes. We use the same principle as we did when we slashed the corporate tax rate. We want to simplify the tax slab. Unfortunately, that's not what had happened. The tax slabs have only gotten a little more complicated. As per the current tax regime, which I'm going to refer as the old tax regime, we have 4 tax slabs which are fairly simple to understand. And we have exemptions which bring down our taxable income. If you were to choose option B, which is the new tax regime, first of all, you can claim no exemptions. Yes, all those investments that you make in your life insurance, in your tax saving mutual funds, public provident fund, etc. are not valid under this tax regime. What could happen is you could be left with more cash in hand, and I would think people would probably end up spending more than saving more. Coming back to other aspects of the budget, I think a couple of other things which were not met in terms of expectations from the budget were announcements towards women's welfare. There has been a lot of noise when it comes to women's safety, etc. While there was an announcement there would be about 28,000 crores spent on women's welfare, it wasn't really described that how is that money going to be used. Another key highlight of this budget was the bank deposits. So if you were not aware, let's assume for instance you had 7 lakh rupees kept in your bank, and much like some of the banks that have gone down in the last couple of months, your bank went down, you would be able to claim only 1 lakh rupees back. Yes, there is a bank deposit insurance of only 1 lakh currently, which is being changed, and that depositor's insurance is being increased to 5 lakhs. I would have hoped for a higher deposit insurance, but yeah, for now I think we're happy with that 5 lakhs. The government has also announced a sell on its prized possession, LIC, the Life Insurance Corporation of India. They have announced a partial sale of their stake in LIC in the late 2020 or early 21. A lot of mixed opinions about that. I'm going to reserve mine for now, and let's wait and watch how that's going to play out. Also, for those who do not have their PAN cards and have their Aadhars as their identity proof, The government proposes to introduce a simple structure where you could generate your PAN number instantly by providing your Aadhaar details. Coming to income tax on the startup economy, there have been a couple of changes that have been announced there, and I'm not going to get into too much detail about it. ESOPs, which are otherwise commonly known as employee stock options, which usually affect the taxability and the stocks that people working in startups are affected by. There has been some change in that, and you can refer to our budget note to understand a little more. A big announcement that the government has made, and which I look forward to, is the fact that people can now apply for their graduation courses or go through their graduation courses from leading educational institutions, and they can do this online. They've announced a couple of crores, which is 3,000 crores, that's also going to be spent on skill development of the youth of the country. I would have hoped for a larger amount which is spent on education and skill development for the future of India. There have been other announcements like the removal of dividend distribution tax, etc., which will have an effect on us. But to keep the conversation today simple, I'm going to stay away and stay clear from that. There were a couple of things that immediately gave us a sense of how people have received the budget. On budget day, the markets the markets were open on the budget day, and we saw the largest fall in the last 11 years. Largest one-day fall in the last 11 years, which was a clear indication that the markets have not really been very welcoming of the budget. What we would like to assume is that the government is trying to focus on the larger picture, looking at stimulating the economy over time rather than taking knee-jerk reactions to all the buzz that's going around that we're in a recession, economy is slow, etc. They haven't made any knee-jerk reactions, no major announcement which will affect our day-to-day lives. If you might have noticed, in the last year or so, the budget has not been a big event as it used to be until a couple of years ago. In fact, the government has periodically been making changes on various aspects of our economic reforms, and the way I would look at it, this is something they're going to continue. While the budget may not have been a big bang budget, I would see that the government make certain reforms. They could also probably pull back on certain announcements that they've made in this budget. I hope this wasn't too complicated a conversation for you to understand. Again, to keep it very simple, two tax regimes. The first one which we're already filing our taxes under and claiming exemptions on all the savings and investments we're making, and another tax regime which is going to be introduced from 1st April 2020. Be mindful of which tax regime you're going to choose. If you are not a diligent saver, I would recommend you go with the first or the older option, which ensures that you're saving and investing in your financial future in one way or another. Stay tuned for our upcoming Finance Fridays and see you soon.